And we are back like we never left here at Filipinos in the Six. It is your favorite Filipino Pinoy boy, Mr. Big Norm, here filling in for host alongside Grammy Award winning Filipino to the bone, amazing producer, produced for Meek Mill, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Nas, Common Roots.
Man.
The whole list, as I was going through the list, I'm like, I'm not going to remember the list, but every name on there is memorable.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. ILLMIND,
Yes.
Producer extraordinaire. Let's give it up for our guest
Thank
here
you guys.
in the
Thank
city.
you. Thank you.
Welcome, brother.
Man,
Welcome,
appreciate you, man. Well,
appreciate you coming through.
listen, it's an honor, man. I was just telling my guy over here, man, like, I follow you guys.
Okay.
You know, I don't know, something about the algorithm that you guys are doing where, like, I get every post. So, I just appreciate what you guys do, man. And, like,
Thank you very much,
for
man.
not just for the culture, but just in general, you know, it's, like, so consistent and just, like, a great follow. So,
Hey, man.
it's an honor, man.
These guys do a great job in putting together really, really good content.
Yeah.
And they also do a good job in bringing the right people to
sure.
shine light on and give their flowers. And we have you here today.
Man.
We want to make sure to shine light on the kids that don't know you and also to give you your flowers and honor the people that do know you and want to give you the flowers also. So,
Yes, sir.
brother, you're out here. You're an OG 80s baby. We're out
Man.
here, man. Look at this guy. He doesn't look
It's
like he's cracked the
crazy.
age of 30, man.
You
Flip
know?
the chip. You see him, he's looking
Good
good.
old
living
25 years old, you know, like, nah, but it's crazy, man. It's been such a crazy journey, you know, like being a music producer and being Filipino is just, it's rare, you know.
Yeah.
I grew up, I was born and raised in New Jersey.
Right.
And so, you know, we have like a pretty big Filipino community out there.
Yeah.
But when you compare Filipinos in New Jersey to Filipinos like in LA, for instance, like there's a lot more like art based, you know, Filipinos on the West Coast.
Yeah.
For us, it was, you know, if you're from Jersey and you're Filipino, like you're gonna be an accountant or
Right,
you're gonna
right.
be a nurse or
Yes,
you know, and obviously there's nothing wrong with that, but I sort of felt like I had all the odds against me in a way. So I'm just really glad that like it worked out the way it did, but like it was a struggle. I'm not gonna say it was easy, but I'm sure we'll get into it.
I mean, everybody, you know, that gets it easy doesn't really get it that easy in the end. You know what I mean? So
True.
the fact that you went through it all and you're still here, how many years into the game? What, 35 plus years?
Man, no, like
30?
I started doing it like really full time, like 2003.
2003.
Yeah, 2004. So yeah, about 20 years. I think we're going on 20 years. Yeah, it's crazy. It doesn't feel like it, but yeah. And honestly, like I still feel like I have so much more I want to do. You know, like I've been really blessed to work with like some of the biggest artists in the world and be part of like these such crazy projects.
Yeah.
But it's like never ending. You know what I mean? Like there's always like once you get like one plaque, like you want to get another one, and then you want 4, and then you want 6, and then you win a Grammy, and then you want 2 Grammys. So it's like, is this like never anything? But I suppose it's sort of a good thing when you're just on the pursuit for something, you know?
Yeah.
So
Was your family always cool with it? Because you know how Filipino parents can be, right?
yeah, so
Were they cool with
it?
with
Was
the
half and
journey?
half. It was half and half. So my dad was a musician. Rest in peace. My dad passed away in 2010, but he played guitar. Okay. So he was he had like 4 brothers, and they all played instruments. So like my dad played guitar, my other, you know, his brother played bass, and then they had another brother on drums, another brother on. And I remember they used to like jam in the basement, and they had all this equipment and stuff. And just as a kid, I just grew up around them. And they would like they would like low key like compose their own music too. Like it was so crazy. But I remember going to family parties in like the Bronx, and one day they like let me play drums for them, and it felt like it was like the biggest thing for me because it's like, you know, I was like 7 or 8 years old. You know what I mean? So like that was kind of like my intro to like, oh, like I can actually do music. You know what I mean? So shout out to my pops, and then my mom was a nurse. Surprise. But she was always super supportive. But it took her a while to like really understand. Like she was like, you know, one day he's gonna go back to school. You know what I mean? It was like that. One day he's gonna go back to school, and I just never did. You know what I mean? So
I mean, I guess it comes to a point when you start making money off of it. And you show, hey mom, look, this is a viable career choice.
yeah, I remember the turning point.
Yeah.
It was 2006 or 7. I ended up being in a magazine. There was this magazine back in the day called Scratch Magazine.
Okay.
And they interviewed me. They did like 1-page interview with like my picture, right?
Yeah.
And the front cover,
you got receipts,
bro. It was crazy. I got
Mama,
receipts.
look.
I got receipts exactly. So the front cover of the Scratch Magazine was
Yeah.
actually Dr. Dre.
Okay.
So I picked up like 5 copies, and when I went home, I showed my mom. I was like, "Mom, look, I'm in the magazine." And she's like, "That's she knows Dre."
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
like, "That's Dr. Dre."
That's
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And then she opened it and she saw me. I was like posted up on the brick wall, just like my leg up, and it was like ILLMIND, like
Yeah.
blah blah blah. And she was like, I could tell in her eyes, like she's like, oh wow, like
proud moment.
maybe this is something that like he could pursue. You know what I mean? But then it was like a series of other things that like, but low key, like I still have to like kind of remind her sometimes, even to this day.
Right.
Like she's like, so is everything good? How's the music? And I'm like, yeah, it's good, mom. Don't worry. You know what I mean? She's still like, she's still mom. You know what I mean?
Is there any artists that you've worked with where she was fangirling? Oh, like, oh my God, I cannot believe you worked with me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Look at you. I'm so proud.
Yep, exactly, bro. It was working with Lin-Manuel doing
Oh, wow.
Hamilton. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the stuff I did for Hamilton, the Broadway show.
What
and
a
then,
flex, bro.
Man,
what
it's crazy.
a flex. You got a Broadway,
Yeah.
like, award-winning musical under your belt.
Yeah, it was wild.
And you got to
man.
put the mixtape together for that.
Man, it was crazy. It was crazy time. And then that same year, I got to work on Moana on the Disney like, soundtrack.
That's amazing.
And she you know, she obviously knew that too. So that was another like turning point. I was like, oh my God.
Like, look, mom, you could. I'm up there with
Is
Lea
this real?
Salonga. Look at me.
Is this real? Like in denial.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? But it was a crazy time, man.
That's really, really cool, man. Because a lot of Filipinos that go into the arts are always, in fear. Like, are my parents going to be disappointed in me for pursuing this, right?
Yeah.
But that's the reason they came to North America, right? They came to North America to give us the opportunities to do the things we actually want to do.
Yeah.
To give us the freedom to go out and pursue music and win Grammys and work with whomever, you know what I'm saying?
That's it.
So like, how did you feel like? Because it's not common. You're one of the first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To do it.
Yeah.
So as a guy standing out in a game that's predominantly African American, Latino, like the one Filipino guy comes in and just stands out. How were you able to like not have imposter syndrome and whatnot? You know what I'm saying?
Man, like it never really bothered me, or I never really felt like there was any friction.
Mm-hmm.
I think it actually helped, to be honest, because like when I first started like getting on the scene or whatever, I remember the first few studio sessions I would go to, people would definitely look at me like, who's this like little, this Asian kid?
Yeah.
Some of them didn't even really know, because like people know Filipinos, but they don't really know us. You know what I mean? There's still a demographic of people that like still get confused or whatever.
They know Filipino women.
Yeah, exactly.
Filipino women.
They know
food.
our girls. You know what I mean? They know chicken adobo. You know, they know Joe Coy. Shout out to my boy Joe.
Shout out to Joe Coy.
But so like growing up early in the scene, it was people remembered me because of that. Because it was like, oh, that's like the Asian kid, or that's the Filipino kid.
Sick.
But I remember this time in 2006 when I linked up with G Unit, with the president of G Unit at the time. His name was Sha Money XL.
Sha Money.
And he changed my life. He was that was like one of the biggest like opportunity, the first big opportunity I had as a producer. And I remember when I had a meeting with him, I was sitting down in the studio, and the first thing he says, he was like, man, ILLMIND, you like the Filipino fire, man. Like, what do you do? He literally called me Filipino fire.
Filipino
bro.
fire. That's
and this
amazing.
is the president of G Unit.
Yeah.
When like 50 Cent was like the main, you know what I mean? Like you remember
at
his
the
run.
peak.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So So to hear that from him, that felt really good. You know what I mean? I was like, man, like,
What a
yeah,
time to be bubbling in your career. You know what
it
I
was
mean?
crazy. But
Like,
a lot of it had to do with like the validation too,
right,
man. Like,
right.
because you'll go through months and years of like, damn, am I doing the right thing? Or
Yeah.
like, self doubt. And
Yeah.
I think the self doubt is actually like the thing that one of the things that holds us back as Filipinos. To pursue our dream or to pursue other things other than like what we were taught or what we were told to do.
Yeah.
And like going back to like our parents or whatever, it's like I never felt like I wanted to fault my parents or my mom specifically for
Yeah.
like, because I know how I know that they were raised in a different way, and I know that they just want the best for us. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And
Exactly.
they want us to be happy, they want us to be successful. But then could get tricky
Right. Right.
because then you have some parents that it's about them as well.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to, like, look, comment
Right. Yes.
below if you
Yeah.
know what I mean, like if you have a family member like that. But and I feel like that's not just a Filipino thing. I think that's a human
It's a
thing.
very cultural.
It's a cultural
thing.
human
Like,
thing,
it
but
happens in every
you
culture.
just have to, like, as long as you're self-aware that that's happening, you
Yeah.
can be like, oh, that's just like that person's sort of like insecurity,
Yeah.
and I shouldn't let that stop me from like doing this thing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
I
yeah.
mean, like, I feel when the music is good, it goes beyond. Oh, this guy's Filipino. This whatever.
Mhm.
It's a calling card just because they could see it right away
Yeah.
visually. Like, oh, that's that Asian guy. You know what I'm saying? But as a producer, you want your music to be the thing that people remember you by,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
How were you able to like create and hone in on your sound and like make yourself stand out from everybody else? Because that's really the issue. It's like everyone wants to find that new sound. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, how do you consider yourself having a specific sound that separated you from everybody else, or like, what was your thing that you
Yeah.
felt?
Yeah. I think that it's sort of like up to the people to kind of like determine what they think my sound is. Because when I get in the studio or when I work with an artist, I'm not necessarily thinking about like a specific sound that I want to do. I'm more thinking like, how can I be of service to this person at the highest level, right?
True,
So it's like
true.
my job as a producer in that studio is to try to make it. My job in the studio is to try to make the best song possible
Right,
with that
right.
person. And I'll do whatever it takes to do that. You know what I mean? So whether it sounds like some hard hip hop shit or something on a Disney soundtrack, like,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna do it. But there's definitely like a sound that you'll get, because I think my signature really is like my instinct, to be honest, like sound selection and just decision making, really,
Yeah.
taste level and all that stuff. Yeah.
That's something people don't really take into consideration because they're not really in studio spaces where like creating a vibe is so necessary in
Yeah.
creating art in general.
Hmm.
And it's like, knowing what songs to pull from because you sample, right?
Yep.
Like, do you sample a lot of Filipino joints, or like is that
No,
something?
no. Lately, so I started when I started producing, I was like sampling from records.
Yeah.
But over the years, I sort of strayed more away from that. Now I like make my own samples and like compose from scratch. But the first experience I had with sampling Filipino music, two things. The first time was my dad had this record called Pinoy Jazz. Like literally, it was called Pinoy Jazz, and it was part of like a creative records that my dad had. And I
Yeah.
remember I sampled it for like a bunch of beats or whatever.
That's sick.
But then the second time I did was actually with Apple the app, from Black Eyed Peas.
Fitting.
So first time me and App were in the studio was 2005, and he was like, "Yo, Illmind, I can't impersonate him, so I won't try." But shout to my boy App,
Yeah,
man. That's
Apple
my big
the app,
bro.
man.
But he was like, "Yo, let's sample some Filipino, records or whatever." So he brought like a bunch of records,
Yeah, yeah.
and we were messing around with it or whatever, and that was that. And then the third time I did it was on the Joe Coy special, the
Okay.
in his elements with Med Messiah. Shout to my boy over in the Philippines, and we sampled like a Filipino record, and we did the theme song for Joe for his special. That was like 3 years ago now. It's
Yeah.
2020. So, and that was it. But I gotta do more. I want to do more because I know there's so much crazy music there.
That's
On Toronto.
crazy range though, bro. You're going from working with some of the hardest hip hop heads in the world all the way down to Broadway musicals, down to comedy specials on Netflix. Like, dude,
Yeah.
what don't you do? What,
Man, it's crazy, man.
that's so,
Like,
that's so amazing. Your journey, your career is just so colorful, bro.
man, thank you, man. You know what it is, man. I think the thing for me, like, I don't even feel like I'm the most talented. Like, I know I'm good at what I do, and I have a lot of experience, and I bring value. But I think the thing that has been allowing for me to get to where I want to get to has been the curiosity, man. Honestly, like, just being super curious about, like, oh, I wonder if I could try this, or like, ooh, let me try this, or what if I did this and then turned it into this, you know what I mean? So it was like, really, it was the curiosity. That's really the driving force still to this day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even the shit I did today in the studio, like, I know you guys may or may not like be hearing some of the stuff in the background, but like, we're at this studio, Noble Studio out here, and there's a camp going on, and like, it's just the music that's being made here has just
Yeah.
been amazing. So
All artists from Toronto, or are they from all over? the
yeah,
country?
mostly from Toronto. Artists, songwriters, producers. You know what I mean? It's been crazy. So
So what is your personal opinion on the Toronto music scene, if you have one?
Toronto is one of the most talented cities by far of any city. Like, straight up. I'm not even just saying that because I'm here or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, if y'all were trash, I would tell you. Trust me. I'd
There
be
it
like,
is.
like, Toronto's like okay. It's like kind of mid, but no,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I used to do these this tour. I did this tour a few years ago before pandemic called Past the Aux, where I would travel to different cities and I would like book like a studio,
Right.
and I would invite like 20 or 30 like upcoming producers and artists and singers to the studio, and then everyone would like play their music, right? And we would vibe, order pizza, hang out, network. So I did it in Toronto like 3 or 4 times
Yeah.
since I started it in 2016. And literally every time I do the tour and I come to Toronto, Toronto is always the best one. I'm not just saying that. It's the best in terms of talent.
Okay.
Like, the ratio of fire beats per capita
Yeah.
per person
Right.
is the highest. So like, for every 30 producers, like 25 are going to be like
Jeez.
fire, and then 5 like that's okay. You know what I mean? So
I mean,
yeah,
we do have quite,
the talent. I don't think y'all realize like how much talent is up here, but I know I have a theory on why.
why is that?
Here's my theory on why. Number one, it's cold as shit. So there's really nothing else better to do.
Okay.
Two, like, Toronto is a fun place. There's so much fun stuff to do,
Yeah.
but I feel like the conditions in Toronto allow for like musicians to like hone in on their craft. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And be at the crib, load up, you know what I mean, the computer, and just practice. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
like, I feel like you guys are like dialed in to your craft so much, and like, also I feel like y'all feel like maybe you have something to prove. You know what I mean?
I think you actually hit it on both heads right
Yeah.
there because pause. You no Diddy. You
Fuck.
I can't believe we can say that now.
Can't believe it.
No, but for real, like when you're sitting miserable for 7, 8 months in the cold, in the darkness, naturally a lot of great things come in dark emotional states. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then also because we're living a little bit more comfortable here in Toronto and Canada, whereas we don't have to go out and rob or steal or do some resort to really, really bad things
Yeah.
to fund the things we want to do. Luckily, we're fortunate enough to to live comfortably enough to pursue our arts in the proper manner. You know what I mean? Where we can
exactly.
actually train. Like even as a stand-up comedian, there is a ceiling, but it's one of the greatest places to sharpen your sword. You know what I mean? And get really good at what you do. And once you hit that ceiling, then you just jump in that talent funnel down to the States.
Yeah.
And then that's why when Canadians do it down south, they do it very, very well.
Yeah.
Right? But
true.
then there's just so much competition. So
Yeah, it's true.
America just churns out so much heat.
It's crazy, but but Canada, man, like Toronto specifically, I mean, like the amount of legendary artists and songs that were just from here, you can't like compare, you know what I mean? Like to many places. So like I think another part of it too is like you guys get to be influenced by a lot of things. It's a melting pot.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And like culture here is so rich and everyone's in the mix.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not like that in a lot of places, you know, down south, like in America. So that's another, like, I think positive benefit for being able to do that. You know what I mean? So yeah,
that and then Toronto's women, right?
the what?
Toronto's women.
Oh, bro, don't get me started on that.
So word on the street is you used to come out here to see a ting out in Scarborough.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is
at the time, like the times you came out to see her, they weren't called tings, they were called jobbies. Right. You're hollering at a joby back in the days.
A joby?
A joby.
Oh, juby. Damn, I didn't even know that. Damn.
It's jub.
I had a little juby. Jub.
Yeah.
No, she was hella cool, man.
Yeah.
This was like 05.
05.
04. 05.
Wow.
I met her online. This was early
On
internet.
Asian Avenue or something?
Not Asian Avenue. Not Zanga. Not Asian Avenue.
MSN.
Wait, maybe I did meet her on Asian Avenue. I don't even remember, bro. But we used to talk on AIM, and I remember she was like, "You should come to Toronto." I was like, "Okay."
Hell yeah.
So it was my first time coming up, and like, yeah, we had a good time, man.
Yeah.
We used to go clubbing and shit. She took
Where'd
me
she
out.
take you?
I don't remember, but the shit was wild.
Okay.
It was wild. Her sister came too. And you can walk back there. Her sister came too, and it was fun, man. It was fun. So shout to her. I don't want to put her on the spot, but shout to her. She's from Scarborough.
Okay.
And she like introduced me to the Toronto vibe. And this was I only knew one other person in Toronto at the time, and it was actually this other producer named Frank Dukes.
Frank Dukes.
He wasn't Frank Dukes yet. He was like making boom bap and like chopping records and stuff. I think he did like some Ghostface stuff at the time.
Yeah.
But he was literally like the only other person that I knew back then, coming up here. Like I didn't know Wanda yet. Yeah. I didn't know like anyone from here. So
but yeah, you've worked with a lot of guys, like you said, Boy Wonder, another Scarborough homie.
Yeah, legend.
There's just so many producers that come out of Toronto. And I never knew what it was, why we're able to produce such good producers. Yeah. But there's a whole bunch of us.
Yeah, man.
But you're a New York, New Jersey guy. You've been in the game 20 plus years, and is there anything that you still haven't reached that you're trying to do? You're like, I've done all these things, but I'm still trying to do this one thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of those, but like, what's one that comes to mind?
There is. So producing records I consider producing songs like gifts from God, where
for sure
you do a ton of music and you kind of just do it because that's what you do and that's who you are. And then if you land on a Drake album or if you land on a Travis Scott album or an Adele album or whatever, that's just like God saying, "Oh, hello, here you go."
Yeah.
So that sort of is just an ongoing thing. But when I zoom out of my career and like what I've done and like what I want to do, I look at it in two ways. I look at it as, how can I create things that can help the world, right?
Yeah.
And I know that sounds like fucking corny, like hippy dippy, whatever.
Yeah.
But really, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's like, how can I create experiences or do things, engage in things that are conducive to helping another human being.
Yeah.
Right. And that could be like developing an app, using AI that can like make someone's life easier. You know what I mean? So I look at it like if as long as whatever I'm doing isn't hurting anyone, as long as it actually helps someone,
That's value.
and as long as I love doing it and it's fun, if there's something that has like those three things, then like I'm probably gonna do it, right? And if it's missing one of those things, I won't. So like think about it. It's like something that's amazing for the world and something that will change people's lives, but something that you don't like doing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to do it. You're not gonna be able to do it because you can't. It's so easy to do things you love doing.
Yes.
But things that you don't want to do, you give up very quickly. You know what I mean? Like people that love to play video games, right? Like they're gonna find time to do it. You know what I mean? Like you could have 5 kids, part-time school, part-time work, but you're obsessed with video games, bro. You're probably still cracking like 30 hours a week on video games because you're gonna make time because you love it. You know what I mean? So there's no excuse. Like that whole excuse of like, I don't have time, I work too much. Well, nah, like how badly do you love this shit? How badly do you want it? Because if you really wanted it, you would do it any kind of free time, you would make time. You know what I mean? So
every now and then, like the same meme kind of pops up on my feed and it says, a crackhead got up and got its crack today. You ain't got no excuse. And I'm just saying, that's right, man.
That's true.
If there's a crackhead doing whatever it takes to get that rock and doing the craziest shit, you know what I'm saying? It's like, who are you to say you can't do it?
That's true, man. But
get the fuck
that's
up.
The message, man. Like, fuck.
But those are 3 great pillars, though, man.
Man, I feel like you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like you can do something that you love doing, but like, is it helping people?
Yes.
Are you hurting people by doing it? Some things do, like there's people that do what they love all the time and build systems that actually like make them wealthy, but are ultimately hurting people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can't get down like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
I mean, music in its entirety is not really meant to be a bad thing. So like,
it's meant to be a good thing, even though there is some toxic music these days, for sure. But the ultimately it's a tool to make us feel emotionally vibrate higher emotionally, and that's always the goal. You know what I mean? So
do you consider yourself more an R&B producer, a hip-hop producer, a soul producer? Like, do you what genre do you like to attach yourself to the most out of all?
I kind of do everything. I kind of do everything. I mean, I started in hip-hop, so all my stuff has like kind of like that grit or whatever. So I feel like whatever genre I jump into, like, is gonna have that feel. But I consider myself just like multi genre. You know what I mean? Like over the years, I was able to like get pretty good at like a lot of things. So those are just tools for me to like use depending on the situation I'm in. You know what I mean? Like I could do Latin records, I could do this, that, whatever. So.
When Beyonce calls us like, yo, I need something for my country album, you ready?
We did, we did a bunch of country ideas that didn't make the album that we sent over, but yeah, we're definitely locked in with country. I mean, there's a huge country community in Nashville, that's like popping right now. Like country's next. Well, it never went away.
Yes, it was one of the.
But it's becoming like a cool thing. I fuck with country, man. Like I feel like it's just like. It's white people's rap. That's what it is. You know what I mean? It's like
Caucasian rap.
It's rap for white
crap.
people.
It's amazing
because they're talking shit.
They're
saying some shit. You know what I mean? Like, but they're like with a guitar. You know what I mean? But they're speaking about their life. Their storytelling.
Twang.
They're storytelling, man. You know what I mean?
No, it's real. Like that honky tonk is. Then you got hip hop, then you got honky tonk country.
Bro, you gotta respect it, man. You gotta respect it.
That's for real.
Yep.
Now, like, as a Filipino, this is Filipinos in the Six, obviously. So we always try to make sure to speak on the Filipino come up. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody tries to look and look for a blueprint to follow. Because there's not many people we can look up to. Especially, I have a shout out to the homie Keith Pedro. He says like. All the Filipinos that you see doing it, like no disrespect to them, but are always half. Like there's no real full
That's true.
Filipinos doing it out there. You know, I lived my NBA dreams through Eric Spoelstra for so long. You know what I'm saying? But now we got Jalen Green, and we got all these other guys coming in. But you know, for the average producer that's like thinking to themselves, "Oh, there's no room for a young Filipino kid," you know, like what would you tell them? You know,
there's so much I would tell them. Well, first of all, I just want to clear up. I'm actually half Italian.
Half Italian for real?
No, I'm not.
Yo, you got me, bro. You got me on that one. I'm like, oh shit, ILLMIND. Okay.
I'm working over here.
All right.
Let me get a ham salami provolone, huh? With some
the New Jersey
extra
comes out.
vinegar.
Here we go.
Some vinegar. I'm working over here. No, shout out to all my Italians, man. But so man, you know what? It can get really deep. But so I've thought about this a lot over the years, and just like talking to just different, like I was able to like talk to a lot of like Filipino, up and coming Filipinos like in the industry over the years. And it always like comes down to like a few core elements, like core common denominators, things that you want to think about when you're like pursuing a career. And it's when you simplify it, it really just comes down to, this is gonna sound so cliche, but I'm gonna explain.
But it's cliche for a reason.
Man, it's cliche for a reason. You just have to do the thing first and then worry about how it's gonna work later. So, you know, there's this like widespread misconception of like, okay, if we want to do something, first we have to plan, and then we have to figure out how we're going to do it, and then we need a budget, we need this. And for certain things, like that works, you know what I mean? Like if you're building an app, or if you're like raising money, or if you're a startup, like yes, you do those things to a certain point,
right?
But in general, when you make a decision on pursuing something, there's no planning. You literally do it.
Action.
Right? Action. And so this thing was really powerful, and I'm hoping you guys would consider this like a blueprint that you can follow.
Yeah.
But basically, 100% of every blessing that has happened to me has been through manifestation, right? So like I'm really like a big fan of like just like manifestation and vibration and pursuing like my higher self and like all these things, especially like lately I've been really into that stuff. And so there's this manifestation trick that is very, very effective. And so I'll explain it. So basically, like when you look at like this couch or like these plaques or like, everything in this room, this microphone, these clothes, right? Mm-hmm. All of these things that we see in the physical world started as a thought. Like someone thought of it, right? So someone thought about a microphone and then they started to build it, right? So it went from like an idea, right? It went from like an idea to,
and it came to fruition.
Yeah, and then they built it, and then they they got all the materials, and then it became a physical entity, like the microphone or the plaque, whatever. So everything started as a thought. So the order is thought, action, and then reality, right? So thought, where it's thought, the work, and then reality, right? So action, right? So instead of looking at it like that, what you want to do is you want to flip that model, right? So instead of thinking about the thing first, you do it first.
Yeah.
And then you think about it later. Okay. Right? And so that's a really great way to just speed up the manifestation process of what you're doing. And when you think about it, it's true. It's like, if you want to like do the dishes, like you're not going to think about, okay, I'm going to do the plates first, and then I'm going to take the soap, and then and then I'm going to take the basahan, and then I'm going to put it. No, like you're going to do this shit.
You're just going to do it.
You're not going to think.
Fine, there are obviously ways to be more efficient that you can consider,
sure, but no one cares.
But obviously, it's just do it.
Just do this shit. You know what I mean? So again, I know that's cliche, but that really is the secret. And if you don't do that, then you're not going to do anything.
You know, I used to always think of it like you have so many things, so many directions you can go as far as, you know, the decisions you want to make with something. But the moment, you know, you sit there and think of all the things that can happen, but the moment you choose a direction, it cancels out all those things you were thinking of because you've now chose this direction, and anything that happens after that will be, you know, from that point on. But all the
Exactly.
time wasted on trying to figure out what can happen
Yeah.
for only one thing to actually happen, it makes no
You
sense.
know, and this is going to be a controversial statement, but you know, planning is an insecurity. Planning is planning really for most people is a way to feel comfort in the present moment of being afraid of failure.
Yes.
And here's why that's such a crazy thing. First of all, when you think about the past, right? You have past, present, future, right? So this is scientific proof that the past is actually 70% inaccurate. Did you know that? So if I ask you, hey, what did you do last week on Wednesday?
I will not be able to tell you exactly.
No,
what
maybe a
happened.
little bit, like
Yeah.
some minor
Yeah,
details.
yeah.
So imagine a month ago, imagine a year ago,
Yeah.
imagine 2 years ago. It's a fucking blur.
70% is a
So
blur.
on average, the past is about 70% accurate. So you can't rely on the past.
Yeah.
The future is completely unpredictable.
We
I
do
mean,
not
no
know.
one can predict the future.
Right.
So that's out. So what are you left with?
100% of the present.
Present moment. The only thing that exists truly in this realm is now. It's the only thing that's real. It's the only thing that's accurate, and it's the only thing that matters. So whatever action you're taking in the present moment will define your future, right? It's like your future is hidden in your daily routine.
Right,
So
right.
whatever you do the most of in one day
Will manifest.
is a manifestation of basically what your future is. So if you decide today, you know, I'm going to be a painter, and then I'm going to do the flip, and I'm going to go paint. You do that for a week, you're a painter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just found that to be incredibly powerful. Like when I started to adapt that, and so that was just a game changer. You know what I mean? So,
That's real, like, it's such a strong example, but it's amazing how it's so simple.
yeah,
You know, the fact that it's literally just do it, fail forward. Because you know that saying, oh, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Well, what's wrong with failing? You have to learn how to handle failure,
I love failure.
right? Like the act of failing forward is like, is something that a lot of people fail to realize because they're just afraid, you know, they're afraid to jump in, but like you're supposed to go forward. And then you'll learn when you're reactionary to your failures and you can learn from it. That's what's gonna dictate your next move. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Exactly. I mean, the more you fail, the closer you're going to be to the win.
yeah,
So you want to fail as much as you can, as many times as you can. Fail, 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 and then you get closer to that win. I love failing because I know I'm closer. You know what I mean?
what,
You're
what,
not going to hit it every time.
what was the biggest L? But like also
biggest-
craziest
the
learning
biggest L.
situation.
Biggest L. I'm trying to think. There was a lot of L's. I think one of the biggest L's was blowing my money. The first big check that I got. I blew the shit.
Of course.
Yeah, when I signed with G Unit, I made like a pretty decent amount of money, and I remember I had whatever money I had, I bought like this crazy like studio penthouse apartment in Jersey City. I moved out of my mom's house, and I couldn't afford it. But I got it anyway.
Yeah.
But I blew it all. You know what I mean? But I don't regret it. You know what I mean? But that was definitely not the best decision.
You live, you learn. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
You learn from it, and I'm pretty sure you didn't blow your money like that ever again.
No.
Yeah.
No. So, but yeah, and then little L's,
Yeah.
like being in the studio and not being prepared, or like even the Dr. Dre story. I don't know if you saw that, but the short version is the first time I met Dr. Dre, I like played him a bunch of beats and like he hated all of them,
Damn.
like literally, and it broke my heart. Like I was playing them for him, I was like excited. I was like, I'm gonna go in there and like Dre's gonna love all my shit. and he didn't like any of them. And that was like a huge lesson for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it humbled me, and it brought me back down to like, yo, like get back in that studio and like get creative and like, step your game up. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. And then like a couple years later, I got invited back to Dre's studio, and then we actually ended up working. You know what I mean? So it ended up working out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that you could even be in that space. You know, when people talk about getting on the court, and then Jordan jumps on the court and it just changes the energy. Like you're in the presence of greatness with Dre.
Yeah.
And you're still able to play your shit in confidence. That's like honestly very, very inspiring, because I know there's a lot of Filipino people out there that have this weird inferiority complex, which is crazy to me sometimes.
Yeah.
But I feel like every Filipino has suffered with it at some point in their life.
For sure.
But the fact that you could still be like, nah, Dre, look at this. Like, check this next one. I got you on this one.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I get it from my mom.
Yeah.
Because my mom was definitely like, had that aura. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
just
that
almost stubborn confidence.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And you're definitely right, man. Like, that's like a thing with us. You know what I mean? That we go through. But I always say, man, like, I mean, confidence is such a complex subject.
Yes.
And it could go so deep, like mental health and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I kind of look at it like, you almost have to like be mindful of like what you're telling yourself, like the inner dialogue. You know what I mean? Like that inner dialogue is a killer sometimes, man. Like, telling yourself shit that you don't even realize you're telling yourself. You know what I mean? Like, man, is he gonna like it? Is he gonna like it? And again, a lot of it is just trying to predict the future, which is impossible. You know what I mean? So it's like,
so real, man.
Yeah,
it's
man.
So
it goes back to the present moment. That's really where it comes down to. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Now I remember why I was asking you what genre of music you like to associate yourself with most, because I wanted to ask you, what is your Mount Rushmore of like musicians? I was gonna say, are they hip? Is it hip hop? Is it soul, R&B? It could be four of any body in music that you want to throw on your Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore of musicians. I'm gonna go Jay Dilla. Jay Dilla. Stevie
Wonder. Yep. He's up there.
Jay Dilla, Stevie. Fuck, that's a hard one, man. Right. I'm gonna say Mort Garson. That's like, he's not on anyone's list.
That's a deep cut. Mort Garson.
Mort Garson is like one of the pioneers of like analog synthesis and like modular synthesizers. Like he came out with projects in the 70s.
Yeah.
That still sound like crazy today. And like I studied him up and down, and like I get a lot of my ideas come from like the school of Mort Garson. So Mort Garson. And then the last two are like, they alternate. So I'll put it's so hard. I'll put Michael Jackson there.
Yeah.
And then I'll put
Stevie.
I'll put I'm gonna put Kanye there, bro. I'm gonna put Kanye.
Yeezy.
I'm gonna put Kanye because like I just listen.
Controversial. I love it.
Yeah, he just has too much great music and moments that he's done in hip hop that I grew up on, that a lot of us grew up on, that will never die. You know what I mean? And like they're always gonna give me that feel. So I gotta give it to Ye.
And he's still making history till this day. Still doing crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another conversation.
Yeah.
What is we always ask here, Filipino food is always a big topic of discussion here. What is what are your top 3 Filipino dishes, but in order? What would be your
order?
Go dish?
In order is number 1 is sinigang with pork ribs.
Pork rib sinigang.
Pork rib sinigang.
Okay.
Pork rib sinigang is number 1. I could eat that shit every day.
Damn. Yeah.
Number 2 is crispy pata.
Ooh, yes.
Everyone loves a good crispy pata.
Shit, bro.
And number 3, corned beef and rice. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, I wouldn't be mad at that. That's a
Corned
really
beef
good
with
one
eggs.
still.
Yeah.
Corn
Nah,
silog?
corned beef and rice was the shit, bro.
Hey, buddy, corn
Come
silog
on.
is in my is probably my.
Did
top.
you ever do the corned beef and ketchup? I never
Yeah.
did it. I didn't do it. You did?
Philippine, like here in Canada,
Yeah?
for sure, we were Heinz ketchup,
Heinz of the,
And-
just
and-
rice and ketchup.
rice ketchup, and
No protein.
and no, with the corned beef.
Oh, with not, but I'm talking about just rice and ketchup.
Oh no, that
That's
red rice? Nah.
like you don't.
That's-
There's no protein available.
I can't do that. I can't do
No,
that. I
okay,
see that
okay,
sometimes.
okay,
I see
okay.
people do that with that, and then add mayo on top too.
Bro, the
like,
mayo, nah. Mayo and rice? No, right?
unless it's sushi, that's the
There
only
you go.
time.
There you go. There you
but
go.
yeah,
There you go. And then the third one, man, I want to just say ube,
ube, all things ube,
bro.
Yeah, ube.
Ube
everything.
ice cream, ube fucking bread,
Leche flan,
leche flan,
ube,
ube everything.
Yeah.
You know,
Such a distinct flavor that people sleep on. That and pandan,
Oh,
Those
so
like that.
good.
The purple and the green. Ooh,
oh,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Those two
But
together.
obviously, like chicken, I love adobo.
Yeah,
You know, palabok.
yeah.
Like I love all that shit, man.
Are you a Jollibee's head?
I'm a Jollibee head, bro.
Yeah.
I fuck with it. I like it. I don't really love the spaghetti.
Yeah, it's
whatever.
basic spaghetti.
But the chicken and rice is it's max,
yeah,
man.
the chicken rice, like
It's
it's
proper.
like it's when people talk about like KFC back in the day when you just buy a bucket and then you just have the rice cooker on the side.
Yeah,
That's all you needed, right?
that's it, bro.
So Jollibee's is pretty much
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, basically.
with some fries on the side. If you need.
Yeah, bro.
But
No,
yeah,
but shout out
man.
to Jollibee. I love Jollibee.
Yeah. What kind of food have you had here in the city so far?
Some smacking Jamaican food.
Of course.
I'm still yet to go to like a Filipino restaurant. out here.
Really?
Yeah. So, any recommendations?
How long are
guys
you in
got?
town? Are you here
Till Friday.
It's till Friday. Boom!
Yeah.
Right at the end of this street, right here,
Yeah.
is a spot called BB's Diner.
Yeah.
Really, it's like a Filipino breakfast spot. They also do kamayan now. They just started in the evenings, but
Okay.
all the stuff is made in house. The longanisas, that's like
Let's
their
go.
corn silog, everything. It's just
Yeah.
literally at the end of the street.
Okay.
Or you go to Suave Cafe,
Yeah.
the best cafe in Canada.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
There's a
gonna try
bunch of
both.
spots. There's another spot called Isla down the street.
Okay.
We're right by Little Tibet,
Okay.
so you can get mad momos
Oh yeah.
all day, every day.
Oh shit. Okay.
For
Okay.
the low, real good
Okay.
stuff. But
Perfect.
Parkdale is a really good neighborhood for
Perfect.
food. Yeah, man, brother. Like, I think we're good. Like, I'm trying to think of anything else that we need
got
to
a
cover.
lot.
But brother,
We talked about the Scarborough thing. the girl.
Scarborough and whatnot.
Yeah.
And okay. Are you weed head?
You know what? I used to be. I'm not. I'm not.
not
Like I
anymore.
can't. Every time I smoke weed, I can't work.
Yeah.
I just get too. You know what? You know what it is? When I'm high, I just start clowning everyone. I clown you. I clown myself.
Yeah,
I'm clowning everything.
Okay,
Like
that's-
literally, it doesn't matter who you are, what you do. I'm clowning you.
So so where do you get your information or not inspiration from? Like what gets you going? Like
The curiosity. It just goes back to the curiosity. Just knowing that the excitement of like making something that I never made before and then trying something new,
yeah.
that like really excites me, you know? So lately what I've been working on is like, and I'm going to announce all this stuff soon, but I've been really tapped into artificial intelligence, you know, not like the typical like generate music thing, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just building things incorporating AI. And I'm also kind of like dipping my hands in like the technology world. So yeah, definitely like some bigger vision type of things are coming up. Like in addition to like the music or whatever,
Yeah.
that's always going to be a thing. But I'm also dipping into that stuff too. So I can't wait to like announce
AI
it.
is taking over, so like you got to find a way to like work with it, and flow with it.
Yeah. And again, it's going to follow the same philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Just help people not fuck anyone over
Yeah,
and
yeah.
be fun.
Use
That's
it the right for the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
As I figure out and think about how to close this, I always wondered how artists, producers, any creators when do they? I always wonder how they know something is done. When do they say that's enough? When do you pull off the paintbrush? When do you press, stop? When do you know a beat is done?
So you know when something is done when there's nothing else to take away. That's it. So you go, you build, and I think that's true for really any industry, creative thing. Is you go. Maybe not painting because it's permanent, but you build, layer, build, and then you start taking away like the shit that doesn't make sense. Whatever stuff that isn't contributing to the vision, take it away, and then when there's nothing else you can take away, you're pretty much done.
That's it. We are done.
Simple.
My brother.
Filipinos in the 6. It's been an honor, man. For real. Shout to all my Filipinos, man.
Do you have any projects you want to let people know about?
Yeah, man. Just follow me on IG. Everything is on IG. But what I will say is, I cloned myself using GPT-5 technology.
Sick.
And you can chat with the cloned version of me for free on askillmind.com. You can even have a phone conversation with me. So we cloned my voice, and you can call me anytime. And we basically trained an ILLMIND AI based on all the books I've read, all the interviews I've done. Like, I'm probably going to update my clone with this interview just so it has it in its brain. And all the podcasts, all the interviews I've done in the past 20 years, we trained this AI. And so it's there to be a mentor. It's there to be a guide for people. So if you need, excuse me, if you're an upcoming musician, or if you just want to talk to the clone version of me for advice or help or whatever, go to askillmind.com, askillmind.com, and you can chat with me for free. So yeah, go check it out.
So if DJs want to be like, hey, yo, I need a drop, ILLMIND,
You can do it.
they would do the...
Yeah, we'll do it. It's crazy.
AI will do that for you.
Yeah. You know what? Let me
That's
give you guys
amazing.
before you cut.
That is beautiful.
Check this out. So you go to askillmind.com. I'll hold it to the mic too. So boom. Check this shit out. Okay, so excuse me. You're gonna edit this, right? Like cuts?
Yeah.
Okay, so
This is nuts, brother. I can't believe
check this out. Sorry, allow my microphone. Yo, ILLMIND, what's good, bro? What are you up to?
Just living the dream. You know how it goes. Grinding in the studio, working on some new heat. How about you? What's been keeping you busy?
Yo, I'm doing this interview with Filipinos in the 6. This shit's gonna be fire. I think we're wrapping up the interview now, man. Like, this is gonna be dope.
That's what I'm talking about. Love to see it. Putting on for our culture and showcasing talent. Can't wait to see the final piece. Make sure you're capturing that Filipino fire. Keep pushing the envelope and creating those waves. What's the main message you're hoping to convey with this interview?
I think I just want to like inspire other Filipinos and just inspire people like with my interview. So hopefully people like it. We'll see.
Can I ask him a question?
That's the spirit. Inspiring others, especially our kababayans and the wider community, is a powerful thing. When you speak from the heart and share your truth, you never know whose life you might touch or change. Just remember, it's not just about being liked. It's about being real and making an impact. Keep pushing forward and let your passion shine through. Have you thought about the next steps for sharing your story even more widely?
ILLMIND, your beats suck. Why are you so serious all the time?
Man, you got me there. But hey, if my beats are what's for dinner, I guess I gotta step up my cooking game, right?
Yo,
That was funny.
let me ask you something.
What's your take on creating music?
Hey, yo, ILLMIND, how much do you love Scarborough women?
Hey, I'm all about respect and admiration for everyone making moves and doing their thing, regardless of what it is. Whether it's creating music, art, or cleaning, it's all about putting in work and being proud of what you do. Everyone's
He's being
grind
politically
with
correct.
respect. Now let me flip this back to music for for a second. Are you
See?
working on
He's
any
slick.
projects right
Smart.
He's like, so anyway,
You
yeah,
can
you
run for
guys,
president, man.
you guys can go to askillmind.com. You can talk to you can chat with my bot. And he could be really helpful. He can help you with your schedule and advice and all that stuff.
Man, I can't believe you've created the AI version of yourself.
wild.
You have a clone. That's duplicity right there.
Literally.
ILLMIND, you have quite the ILLMIND.
My
Thank
dog.
you for sharing your time with us, bro.
Yes, of course.
I appreciate you.
Of course.
Enjoy the rest of your stay here in the 6.
Thank you, bro.
And keep making that hot shit, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man. Shout out to the Filipinos in the 6. Yeah. We
Here
out.
we go.
Appreciate y'all.
And we want to say thank you to Suave Cafe, the greatest cafe in the universe. Yep.
Good shit. Good shit. Audio was okay? Good.
Yeah, man. The food